Pope Francis has called Europe's neglect of refugees a shipwreck of civilization, urging governments to do more to protect them. The Pope is visiting migrants on the Greek island of Lesbos, where more than 2,000 people are living in a camp for asylum seekers. He's repeatedly highlighted the plight of refugees throughout his papacy. And DW correspondent Max Zander is standing by for us at the camp, which Pope Francis has just left. Max, what did the Pope have to say?
Well, Nick, the Pope really didn't beat around the bushes. He made very clear in his own way that changes had to happen in Europe and in the rest of the world with regards to migration. Firstly, he thanked the people here in Greece on all levels, from community volunteers to the authorities, who led a helping hand in working on the migration crisis here. But he also said, since the last time he visited 5 years ago, not much has changed. Greece is still on its own. Greece is pretty much isolated and dealing with the problem by itself, while other European countries, that's what he said, are pretending that this issue, migration, is none of their concern. And this results in some of the events that we're seeing around Europe now, that barriers are being built, that fences are being built, that pushbacks are happening at the EU's external borders. And Pope Francis made clear that this is not the answer. He was calling for political action and for a wide range of policies to change this.
I understand you're standing right next to the tent where the Pope made that speech in the refugee center. What was the reaction from the migrants who heard him speak?
Yeah, so let me tell you, when the Pope walked into that tent right over there, so it's 50 meters from where I'm standing right now, a choir of West African migrants started singing, and they sang for quite a few minutes. And it was a very touching, very heartwarming, beautiful moment, a moment of joy that you don't really have often in places like this, or like Moria camp, the former camp, or Mavrovouni camp, where we're here right now. So you could interpret this as a sign of hope, perhaps. But the people who I talked to, they have hope. They hope that this sends an important signal, but they are also very aware of the difficult situation that they're in. They appreciate that somebody like Pope Francis is standing up for them, but at the same time they know that many, many others, far more, don't.
Okay, well, Max, as you know, Lesbos became a symbol of the refugee crisis and Europe's struggle to deal with it. You've, of course, been on the island for a few days, talking to residents and to migrants, of course, about how things might be changing since the crisis all began in 2015. Let's have a quick look at what you found out.
The island of Lesbos, a haven of tranquility with a rich culture and a long history. Aphrodite Fatih Mariola calls Lesbos her home. Last year, her family started renting out these bungalows to tourists, hoping more people would come back to visit. In 2015, the island became a migration hotspot for hundreds of thousands hoping for a better life in Europe.
It was extremely difficult and challenging for us. And we never knew when this was going to stop also. So that was scary. And we also knew that we were helping, and we knew that we were going to pay a consequence, some kind of consequence for this at one point.
The following year, tourism was down 80%. Many firms went out of business. To take pressure off the islands, the government transferred thousands of people to the mainland. Today, just over 2,000 people live here in the Mavrovouni camp, a fraction of the numbers that used to crowd the island's previous accommodation facility just 2 years ago. Despite decreasing numbers, life here remains very difficult. Since the beginning of the pandemic, residents have only been allowed to leave the camp once or twice a week.
I cannot get good sleep, I cannot get good food, I cannot get good time, so all my time in the day, it's very bad because of the situation.
Salat from Somalia has been living in the camp for 9 months while he waits for a decision on his asylum case. He and others are likely to be moved to another facility soon. Camps like this one, which recently opened on the island of Samos, are part of the government's new strategy, improving living conditions while at the same time keeping residents behind fences and barbed wire. The same strategy is planned for Lesbos.
For very long, islanders have been resisting plans to construct a permanent closed facility here in Lesbos. But after years of arguing, an agreement was finally made to build it here, in the middle of nowhere, far away from any city or village.
Many islanders are still against the planned camp. For businesswoman Aphrodite Fatimariola, finding a sustainable solution must include the local population. She says it's time to show a different side of Lesbos.
This stigmatization of the islands that bear the weight of the refugee crisis needs to stop. We need the truth to come out there, and we need people to realize how beautiful and how blessed Lesbos Island is to come and see it for themselves.
For everyone here on the island, the dream of a better future remains strong.
And Max, your report mentioned Greece's new island detention camp. Are they really an improvement? And I mean, especially considered from the migrants' perspective.
Well, the idea of these closed permanent camps was introduced a few years ago when there was a large refugee and migrant population here on the island, 20,000 people living in very difficult conditions. Now, this has changed due to depopulating the island, due to the government bringing people to the mainland. So right now, there might be a chance for these camps to go ahead, though we know that there's still some controversy around these camps, and a lot of people, not just NGOs, resisting them for living conditions that are very harsh on the population.
All right. Thanks for that. DW correspondent Max Zander on Lesbos, where Pope Francis has just paid a visit.